Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the IndieZone. My name is Kathy. On January 8th, 2025, Judge Hippler entered two orders, one based on a state filing, the other on a defense filing, having to do with the defendant's motion for a Franks hearing. One is order sealing state's objection and exhibits to defendant's amended motion and memorandum in support for Frank's hearing. And what this means is this is an order that is sealing the state's objection and exhibits. It's the State of Idaho's submission entirely is now under seal. Saying here, based upon the state's stipulated motion to seal state's objection and exhibits in defendant's amended motion and memorandum in support for Frank's hearing filed herein, and no objection from the defense, the court does hereby confirm and order that the state's objection and exhibits to defendant's amended motion and memorandum in support for Frank's hearing are exempt from disclosure. That means exempt from public disclosure and sealed pursuant to, and here is the legal authority that Judge Hippler is citing to that authorizes the court to keep this information out of the public domain, off the public docket. The cited to legal authority is Idaho Court Administrative Rule for the reasons stated in the motion. And this is the state's motion objecting to the defense's request for a Frank's hearing, and then the substance of what the state is pulling from the record, and perhaps other information, perhaps affidavit, perhaps other exhibits, everything is under seal. So we really don't know what the state here is pushing back with to try to persuade Judge Hippler not to grant this rarely granted hearing, Franks versus Delaware. This is not a motion to suppress evidence. Like the multiple motions that are coming up for hearing on the 23rd and possibly going into the 24th of January, a Franks motion attacks an affidavit in support of that warrant. That is what the Franks motion attacks. The affidavit that is presented by law enforcement to a judge or magistrate that obtained a warrant. These motions are very difficult to obtain. We did a comprehensive presentation on an Idaho federal case that was located, the events were located not far from where Latah County is, and went into detail of the 5 elements that a defendant must prove to even qualify for a hearing, and then pitch and make their argument why that warrant affidavit should be thrown out. And also that there's an additional barrier that a defense must overcome, which is a warrant signed by a judge is considered under the law to be proper. Please listen to that episode of the IndieZone. It will provide a lot more detail as to what Judge Hippler is currently considering, whether or not to grant this requested hearing by Mr. Kohberger. Speaking of which, there was a second order that was rendered on the 8th of January. This is the order sealing the defendant's amended memorandum and exhibits in support of the Franks hearing. That was filed by the defense back in November 26, 2024. That's when they requested their Franks hearing. It says here, the court having ordered the sealing of defendant's memorandum in support for Frank's hearing and exhibits in support, and having before it a motion to seal defendant's amended memorandum and exhibits in support of Frank's hearing and good cause appearing now. Therefore, it is hereby ordered the defendant's amended memorandum and exhibits in support of Frank's hearing shall be sealed, pursuant to, in the legal authority, Idaho Code Administrative Rule 32, so ordered, January 26, 2025, Judge Steven J. Hippler. Now, interestingly, if you look at this order, you will see received November 26, 2024. There's a stamp right next to the case number. That is the date of the amended order. Mr. Kohberger had filed an order for a Frank's hearing that the court found was not in proper form and gave him additional time to put it in proper form and resubmit by the 26th of November, which Mr. Kohberger did meet that deadline. And you'll see on this order that it's scratched out November 2024 and then written in January 2025. This may have been a proposed order that Mr. Kohberger submitted with his filing to the court and explaining why you see 8th of January 2025 handwritten and crossing out the typing November 2024. At this point, all of the filings are in. Barring any unforeseen additional information that someone may file or the court may order, what remains now is the court's ruling on whether or not Mr. Kohberger gets his Frank's hearing. We will continue to monitor the docket and we'll report back to you when that order is entered. Until then, this is Kathy. Thank you for joining us here today.